Welcome back to Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. Since this is the time of year when we are more apt to gather with other people, let's take a look at what may come our way. Part of making sense of the world around us is making sense of the people around us and the choices they make. Gathering with people who see the world quite differently can introduce conflict and contention into an otherwise pleasant gathering. Some of the people you know or are related to are making choices, attaching themselves to thought patterns that are difficult at best to understand. So let's take a look at the choices. We like to think that it is a natural response to feel good when you do something that would objectively be labeled as good, such as being kind and respectful, lending a shoulder to someone during a tough time, offering encouragement. But that does not feel good to someone who is at a low level. A person at a low level of spiritual awareness would only be caught doing one of those things when they thought it might get them what they want. The strings are always attached, and it's an act. There's nothing genuine or selfless about it. Giving to someone else, no matter what it is, feels like something is being taken from them when they are at a low level, and it feels like something they won't be able to get back. There's also concern that it makes them look weak in the eyes of the person they gave it to. Conversely, the bad acts of a person at the lowest levels do feel good to them. Achieving something underhanded or something cruel feels like an accomplishment, something they got away with. They feel they've put one over on others, which leaves them, in their mind, in a higher status level than the person they deceived. So for the lower levels of awareness, bad things feel good and good things feel bad. That's what I mean about their world being upside down. Now think of the journey through the levels of spiritual awareness as a spectrum, beginning at the lowest levels and ending at the level of a spiritual master's degree. At some point on that continuum, there is a crossing point. At the crossing point, the good feelings that one has when doing bad things start to diminish. There's an awareness of diminishing returns. It no longer holds the positive charge it once did. The price begins to outweigh the benefits. At that same point, the feelings that come with doing good things or making good choices start to increase. People slowly switch over to a different source for their sense of self, their self-esteem, their happiness. So how does this apply in our current culture? When you see people marching with tiki torches spouting Nazi philosophy, it is natural to be shocked and horrified. It's not normal. It's a display of hatred so raw that it's really disturbing. This gathering was meant to bring neo-Nazis, white nationalists, Klansmen, and the like together as a show of force. It was a way to build that community by proudly demonstrating that they exist as a way of being and a legitimate choice others could make. Those at high levels cannot imagine why they would do that. But it feels good to them to do that. They're at a level of spiritual awareness that makes that type of choice seem on point and super gratifying. It's the rest of us that are horrified. You could tell by the fact that they were out there, faces in full view, showing the adrenaline rush it was giving them, that they thought they must be speaking for many, speaking for the unrepresented in polite society. The man who killed a woman with his car was arrested, convicted, and sentenced. Social media did its thing and identified the individuals involved, making sure that the marchers, friends, family, and employers knew that they were part of this event. This is a legitimate action because if you're someone who these people are railing against and you sit next to one of them at work, you're going to want to know who you're dealing with. Their social media lifelines were shut down and funding sources diminished. This was society's response to their low-level behavior. Society used checks and balances to make their choice one that didn't feel quite as good as they hoped it would. That is the role of the collective culture, to point out low-level behavior and make it less appealing. The collective culture also points out high-level behavior and reminds us that we too can elevate our choices. All of this is a necessary part of the rebirth revolution. We must pull back as many rocks as we can to allow sunlight and the collective culture the opportunity to point out what will not be tolerated moving forward. It sometimes feels repetitive and unnecessary to react to every low-level choice of words or choice of actions, but it's not. The act of pointing out what is wrong is the part of the equation that makes the bad choice less fun to make. It's our duty. It is also our duty to make people's good choices feel better. The people who have been duped into making bad choices and then see the light need to be able to reveal their new choice without being made to feel bad about their previous bad choice. We need to make their new choice feel good so they stay on that track. If we pin people to their worst choices, we give them no reason to cross that spectrum where the good choices pay off in the way the bad choices did in the past. In the revolution, it is our goal that everyone choose to do the right thing, because only the choices made freely count. We must be their support in doing so. People are inherently drawn to what makes them feel good, so we have that power to help those who have gone off into the ditch to get back up on the road. We can shine a flashlight on the road and then offer our praise once they move in that direction. We can't drag them up the cliff. That is their journey to make. It's important to allow them to make that climb back up to the road, because that rocky precipice is where the lesson really sinks in. If we take that from them, they miss the bigger point. We do need to be the welcoming committee when they arrive at a better place. We also need to recognize that changing course, even if it's for the better, is not an easy thing for anyone to do. The ego that protects you from recognizing that you were wrong is a powerful source of opposition to any change. For many, the ego is so strong that they'd rather be wrong forever than face one, "I told you so." So how do we deal with people who are in the ditch or slowly climbing back up to the road? Maybe we can employ the parenting tactic of ignoring what children do wrong and praising what they do right. The power lies in their desire to have your attention, so only give it when it's earned in a positive way. All who've spent any amount of time with little children know that there are many who are just as happy with negative attention as they are with positive attention. It's just attention they crave. This may be a useful strategy when you're involved in any sort of gathering where low-level people are amped up by their own low-level ideas and super excited to engage with you in some sort of exchange about their ideas. Understand they are at a low level, and that any unhealthy interaction they can engage you in will make them feel great and make you feel horrible. Both are wins for them. Both are their goals. They desire to drag you back down to their grade level. There is nothing a 10th grader can tell a 2nd grader that will make any sense or will move the needle at all for them. It's a waste of breath. Low-level people are not interested in the opinions of others if they clash with their own ideas. They are not interested in cold hard facts. They are easily threatened and fearful. Those attributes make them sitting ducks for those who want to mislead and use them. But you will never be able to convince them of that. They still think that everything and everyone who is unlike them is a source of danger, including you. They assume everyone is operating at their same level of integrity and have little or no concern for the damage done to others. They feel a positive charge when they see children dying in cages. To them, it's just one less person to fear. You'll not be able to talk them out of that. People at low levels are unable to connect the simplest of dots. You cannot get them to see that they would be devastated if their child was locked up in a cage and left to die, and that the parents who have lost their children that way feel the very same devastation. It's really kind of astounding. You would assume that if you slugged someone in the arm and they felt the pain of that they would be able to take that experience into future encounters and understand if they hit someone, it would hurt them. But they can't put these two things together. Other people are of no inherent value to someone at a low level, and their feelings are either meaningless or they get a positive charge when they know they've hurt another person's feelings. They lack the awareness that we are all from the same source and that we are all living and meant to grow in the same system. They have a long way to grow. They still need to take all the lessons from 2nd through 10th grade before anything you have to say will register and have an effect. That gap will not be bridged at your gathering or anytime soon. And frankly, by the time they get to 10th grade, you will no longer be there. So a meeting of the minds with this person ever is unlikely. That's life. That's how the system is set up. In the meantime, you can demonstrate how a high-level person behaves in the presence of low-level behavior. You can love them and have compassion for them without engaging in their nonsense. If you observe them making better choices, make sure you give them praise and encouragement. Make sure that feels better to them than their bad choices did. People can only take the courses as they come. They can only know what they have earned. You are only responsible for your own growth and adherence to higher level principles. Practice your love and compassion, and if it gets really bad, you have every right to move on. Moving on is demonstrating love and compassion for yourself, which is every bit as important as the love and compassion you have for others. So here you are in a room full of people. They may be relatives or people from work or a gathering of your neighbors. In any case, it's a system that you are a part of, which is why you were invited. Maybe you're even hosting the gathering. When there's a lull in the action, give this exercise a try. Be the observer. Instead of getting pulled into a negative or chaotic energy pattern of those around you, be the one who watches it all like a sociologist. See if you can answer these questions. Who is setting the pace and agenda for the group? This is interesting because I think healthy systems have someone of a higher level setting the tone. Problematic systems have lower level people establishing the ground rules. It's more likely that a low level person would be motivated to control a group of people, but they don't know how to use that power effectively or compassionately. Can you tell who's running the show? Who is accepted because they don't challenge the group? Who is the outsider who refuses to play the game? What type of speech is most prevalent in this setting? Are you hearing the low-level mainstays of gossip, judgment, and character assassination? Or are people speaking in a manner that reflects support, growth, and understanding? Are people talking about other people, events, or ideas? What can you pick up about the body language in the room? Are people capable of seeing the beauty in the gathering of souls, or are they caught up in the much less important technical parts of the gathering? Like, are they basking in the glow of each other's company, or are they obsessed about the mashed potatoes being cold? Can you tell the extroverts from the introverts? Extroverts are energized by the social interaction, while the introverts are exhausted by it. All of this is not an exercise in judgment as such. It's a way of being more aware of each system you're a part of and trying to gain a better perspective of why you feel as you do when in each group. These observations can help you learn more about yourself. What are the things that set you on edge? Do you feel less like yourself or more like yourself when you're with these people? Are you overly concerned about what they think of you? Are you connecting as your current self or as the person you were long ago? Looking at the actions of others can take you out of the performative mode and into the mode of simply listening and feeling. It can take you out of the mode of thinking that you need to make things happen and into the mode of riding the wave that already exists. At these gatherings, we are quick to jump into the role we have always played, what others expect from us. What if this time you didn't do that? In the revolution, we get to rethink everything. We get to choose again. But before we choose our next move, we need to be very aware of each situation we find ourselves in. Have fun. Think in new ways. Make new connections. Understand more fully old connections. And at all times, keep your wits about you. I hope your holidays are going wonderfully. If you have any issues, let us know. Send your email to rebirthrev@gmail.com. Tell everyone you know to join us in the revolution by listening on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. If you follow and rate us, it'll make it easier for others to find us. It's fun to watch our listener base grow. I enjoy watching Michigan and Wisconsin go back and forth for the second place in most downloads of the podcast, after Nebraska, which is where this comes from. All are welcome, all are appreciated. Until next week, be open, be aware, watch for clues, and watch some sappy holiday movies. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Have a fun week.